Chosen one. Listen closely. The atmosphere around you has changed. The silence that once pressed against your heart was never absence, it was alignment. Heaven was not ignoring you. Heaven was orchestrating you. Every delay, every unanswered prayer, every night you lay awake asking, why? Still nothing. Lord, those were not moments of rejection but of refinement. The veil lifts now, and what was hidden becomes holy understanding. You thought you were forgotten, but you were being prepared. You were like a seed trapped beneath concrete. Yet somehow you pushed through stone and reached the light. The pressure that almost broke you was the very thing that proved your strength. God didn't overlook you. He outsmarted the enemy by concealing you. When others ran ahead, you were rooted deep. When others seemed to rise, you were being rewired. I want you to picture this, a warrior standing in the rain after the final battle, armor dented, but eyes still burning. That's you. You survived tests meant to silence you. You passed exams written in tears and faith. Heaven has been watching, and the final page of your testing has just turned. There was once a man, one of the chosen, who spent years working in a quiet place. No spotlight, no applause. He prayed for movement, but all he saw was routine. Yet one day, the same field he thought was ordinary became the ground where his miracle began. God turned his waiting room into a launching pad. That's what this season is for you, the moment the ordinary reveals its divine disguise. The Word of God declared in Isaiah, chapter 45, verse 3, I will give you the treasures of darkness and hidden riches of secret places, that you may know that I am the Lord. Can you feel that? The words are not ancient, they are alive, breathing through this very moment. The treasures of darkness are the lessons you learned when no one clapped. The hidden riches are the strengths born from pain, the wisdom shaped by silence. You thought the darkness was punishment, but it was preservation. The gold was forming in secret places. Only you and God knew. Look back for a moment, not with regret, but revelation. Every unanswered call, every closed door, every person who walked away was part of the divine choreography that brought you here. You were never disqualified. You were being distinguished. What you carried was too sacred for premature exposure. The wilderness was heaven's classroom, not hell's punishment. You have reached a threshold. When you wake tomorrow, it may feel like any other day, but in the spirit, the coordinates have shifted. You're moving from hiddenness to heralding, from silence to sound. What once felt like confusion will soon make perfect sense, because the author has begun reading aloud the part of your story that used to be under seal. Chosen one. Heaven didn't test you to prove your weakness. It tested you to certify your strength. Every time you said, "Still, I trust you," you were writing your name in faith's record book. You did not break. You graduated. Your spirit has been recalibrated to heaven's frequency. That's why the old patterns no longer fit. The music of this world sounds out of tune to you now because you've heard the rhythm of eternity. You are awakening to what you have always been set apart. Anointed. Unstoppable. There is a holy stillness before great announcements. This is that stillness. God is aligning the next pieces, even now. You may not see it, but if you quiet your soul for a moment, you'll sense it, the weight of promise hovering like dawn behind the horizon. When the veil lifts, everything that used to confuse you will suddenly connect. You'll realize that the prayers that seemed ignored were actually answered differently. The losses you mourned were strategic subtractions, not punishments. The pain you carried was fertilizer for purpose. The wilderness you dreaded was the place where heaven whispered your real name. Chosen one. The test is over. The silence is breaking. You are stepping into the revelation that all along it was never about surviving. It was about becoming. If this message resonates in your spirit, let your heart answer with 777 inches, the comments. Like, share, and subscribe, not just as a click, but as a declaration. I have passed the final test. The veil is lifted. Chosen one. This is your awakening. The air around you hums with promise, and even the shadows now serve your light. The journey ahead will reveal why every delay was destiny, every silence sacred preparation. You now begin to see it, the hidden curriculum of pain. The lessons that could not be taught in comfort had to be delivered through breaking. You thought you were being punished, but you were being polished. Every trial carried a teacher, and every wound whispered wisdom. Heaven did not abandon you. It educated you. Pain was never random. It was the divine classroom where you learned to distinguish noise from the voice of God. While others heard sermons, you heard silence, and in that silence, you learned to listen deeper. That is how prophets are made, not in applause, but in ache. You learned to walk by faith when sight was taken away. You discovered that trust is not built in sunlight, but in storms. Imagine a potter's wheel spinning under divine hands. The clay does not understand the force shaping it, but it yields because the touch is familiar. That was you. Every disappointment was a turn of the wheel. Every heartbreak, a pressure that formed character. You asked for purpose, but purpose cannot live in untested hearts. It needs depth, and depth comes only through breaking. There was once a woman, marked by heaven, but crushed by circumstance. She was betrayed by those she helped, forgotten by those she prayed for. One night, she screamed at the ceiling, asking why her faith hadn't protected her from pain. And in the quiet that followed, she felt the whisper, "Faith does not protect you from pain. It gives pain permission to produce purpose." From that moment, she understood what she lost in people. She gained in power. So did you. The losses were the language of heaven, saying, "Now I can trust you." You were not being stripped for cruelty's sake. You were being refined so that when power came, pride wouldn't. The pain was the fire that ensured the glory wouldn't consume you later. Even the betrayals had meaning. Judas did not appear by accident. He appeared by design. Every person who broke you was unknowingly preparing your anointing. They carried your crucifixion so that resurrection could follow. This is how heaven works, turning tragedy into testimony, pain into prophecy. As written in the book of Hosea, chapter 6, verse 1, "Come, let us return to the Lord, for he has torn us, that he may heal us. He has struck us down, and he will bind us up." The tearing and the healing are not two different events. They are one continuous process. You were torn to be realigned, struck so that your roots could deepen. The blows were not to destroy you, but to drive your spirit back into the soil of dependence. When everything was stripped away, you learned that the only constant was his presence. Do you remember those nights you couldn't even pray, when all you could do was breathe and hope it counted as faith? It did. Every sigh was a psalm. Every tear was a seed. Heaven has a way of collecting what earth forgets. None of it was wasted. Now the hidden lessons begin to surface. You've learned discernment, how to sense when something is divine or merely distracting. You've learned endurance, how to stand still when everything around you screams to move. You've learned love, how to forgive without closure. These are the invisible degrees of the chosen. You walk differently now. The same storms that once terrified you have become familiar friends. You've learned to dance in rain others hide from. There is a quiet authority that follows you. Not loud, not forced, just undeniable. Because once you've survived divine pressure, you stop needing external validation. There's a rare beauty in those who have suffered with purpose. Their eyes hold both fire and tenderness. They can look at another soul in pain and see through the anger, through the confusion, straight into the wound. That is the gift your pain left behind, sight beyond sight, chosen one. This is why the path was narrow. If it had been easy, you would have blended in, but your assignment required substance. You could not carry this weight with a shallow heart. The pain expanded you to hold greater glory. So now, when you remember what broke you, do not curse it. Bless it. It was the unwelcome mentor that taught you eternal truths. What once was unbearable has become invaluable. What once made you cry now makes you wise. The hidden curriculum is complete. You learned compassion in your collapse, strength in your surrender, wisdom in your waiting. Heaven calls that mastery, and as you rise from the ashes of every lesson, light follows. What once wounded you now worships with you, turning scars into songs that guide others home. You remember the silence, don't you? Those endless nights when heaven felt locked, and your prayers seemed to vanish into the ceiling. That silence wasn't abandonment, it was the sound of God trusting you. When heaven watches in silence, it's not disinterest, it's observation. The teacher never speaks during the test. There is something sacred about those quiet seasons when nothing moves. You learned the rhythm of stillness, the art of waiting without answers. Every unreturned sign, every delayed miracle, every door that refused to open it was heaven, watching how you'd respond when you heard nothing. Would you still worship when your world went quiet? Would you still believe when belief felt like madness? There was once a young man who served God with passion. He gave, prayed, and poured out his heart. But 1 year stretched into 5, then 10, and still no movement. He felt forgotten, hidden behind everyone else's success. Then one morning, while walking alone, a simple breeze brushed past him, and he felt peace, no words, no thunder, just peace. That was the moment he realized silence was not God's punishment, it was his presence disguised. From then on, he stopped begging for answers and started listening for peace. You, too, have been there. You cried out for direction and received stillness instead. But that stillness was the training ground of your discernment. When heaven is silent, the Spirit is sharpening your hearing. You began to sense God not in noise, but in nuance, in the pause between moments, in the spaces no one else notices. The word of the Lord speaks through the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, though it tarry. Wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not delay. That is the mystery of silence. It's never empty. Heaven's delay is divine timing at work. You were being positioned, not punished. You were learning to walk by the rhythm of eternity, not the clock of man. Every pause had purpose. The silence shaped your sensitivity. It taught you that God's voice is not always volume. Sometimes it's vibration. Think of the sky before dawn, utterly still, yet full of anticipation. That was your spirit's condition. The silence before your sunrise was heavy because it was sacred. The heavens were aligning, angels repositioning, destinies interlocking. The hush you felt wasn't absence, it was construction. Many give up during silence because they mistake it for rejection. But not you. You stayed. You stayed when it felt pointless. You stayed when the applause stopped and when faith felt foolish. That staying power is the signature of the chosen. Heaven takes note of those who remain faithful in the unseen. Even Jesus endured silence in Gethsemane. The heavens didn't answer him then either. Yet that silence carried the weight of salvation. The same principle applies to you when heaven doesn't speak. It's because heaven is preparing something. It refuses to spoil early. Your tears in the quiet became language. They spoke what words could not. Every sigh, every deep breath became a spiritual code, proof that faith still flickered even when understanding died. And that is what pleases God, not perfection, but persistence. So now, as you stand on the other side of those silent years, you realize something remarkable. You can hear the heartbeat of God in places others call empty. You've learned the sound of stillness, the melody of waiting. That's why you no longer panic when heaven pauses. You understand that silence is not the absence of movement, it's the presence of mystery. If you feel that truth stirring inside you now, pause before scrolling. Let that awareness settle in your spirit. The silence you endured was the classroom of intimacy, and the diploma is your discernment. You hear differently now. You see differently. You trust differently. That's the mark of those who have walked with God through quiet seasons. Now whisper this in the comments: I still trust. Because that short confession carries the weight of your entire journey, your faith beyond feelings, your worship beyond words, your loyalty beyond logic. Heaven heard every moment you stayed. And now, heaven responds. When you write those words, you're not just leaving a comment, you're declaring alignment. I still trust means you choose faith, even when there's no evidence. It's your soul saying, I refuse to let silence steal my certainty. That simple line becomes a prophetic act, a digital altar where heaven and earth meet. Every I still trust echoes in the unseen realm. Angels record it, darkness trembles at it, and heaven smiles. Knowing one more. Chosen one has refused to break the seal of the chosen. It is something unseen, yet deeply felt. You've carried it your whole life, without understanding why others reacted to your presence the way they did. Some were drawn to you instantly, others resented you without reason. That invisible distinction was not arrogance, it was assignment. Heaven placed a mark on you long before your birth, a signal that both light and darkness recognize. You wondered why rejection seemed to find you early, why belonging never fit right. It was because you were never meant to blend in. You are marked, set apart, identified by heaven's fingerprint. You were chosen in the shadows. And though your life seemed ordinary, your spirit has always carried extraordinary weight. Every room you walked into shifted. Even when you said nothing, that is the effect of the seal. The seal is not made of ink or fire, it is made of encounters. Every time you chose righteousness, when compromise looked easier. The mark grew clearer. Every time you forgave what you could have avenged, heaven pressed its seal deeper into your spirit. Every hidden act of obedience became part of your insignia. It's why the enemy targeted you so early. He recognized the seal before you did. There's an ancient story about a child born during a famine. While others saw misfortune, heaven saw a deliverer. From infancy, storms seemed to chase him, and yet he always survived. Years later, when he finally stepped into his purpose, he realized the chaos wasn't coincidence, it was confirmation. The opposition had been evidence of the seal. That is you. Your life's turbulence is not random. It's a reflection of the call you carry. To understand this mark, you must first understand ownership. The seal is God's way of declaring, "This one is mine." It is divine property etched into your being. You are protected, not because of perfection, but because of purpose. No curse, no scheme, no false tongue can erase what heaven has stamped. You belong to the kingdom, and that belonging cannot be revoked. As revealed in the second letter to Timothy, chapter 2, verse 19, nevertheless, the foundation of God stands sure. Having this seal, the Lord knows those who are his. End part. Those words are not metaphor, they are identity. The Lord knows you, not the polished version you show others, but the trembling, uncertain soul beneath. He knows you because he sealed you. That recognition means you can never be truly lost, no matter how far you wander. Sometimes you feel the weight of the seal as loneliness. It can isolate, because not everyone understands consecration. The chosen often walk roads that others avoid. You may crave ordinary, but the mark won't let you settle there. It calls you higher. It interrupts your distractions. It convicts you when compromise tries to comfort you. That's not guilt, it's guardianship. Even your mistakes could not cancel the seal. They only clarified your dependence on grace. The same fire that exposes weakness purifies purpose. The mark doesn't fade when you fall. It glows brighter when you rise again. Heaven does not unchoose what it has chosen. It simply redefines how you walk forward. You are a living paradox, fragile yet fortified. Your humanity remains, but your spirit carries divine encryption. When you speak, your words cut through confusion because the seal authorizes your voice. When you pray, the atmosphere bends because heaven recognizes its own. Even silence becomes power when it comes from one who is sealed. The seal also carries responsibility. To be chosen is to be entrusted. You do not move carelessly because your steps have weight. Your reactions, your mercy, your restraint, all of them echo further than you imagine. The seal amplifies everything you do, both holy and human. That is why discipline matters. That is why obedience cannot be delayed. The more you yield, the more radiant the mark becomes. And when doubt whispers, when the enemy tries to convince you that you've lost your place, remember, the seal does not depend on your feelings. It stands sure. Heaven's signature does not smudge under pressure. You are not barely hanging on, you are anchored in eternity. So you walk forward with quiet confidence, not boasting, not striving, just aware. You carry something ancient and indestructible, a covenant written into your very spirit. The world may not recognize it, but all of creation does. That's why favor follows you unexpectedly. That's why certain doors open without explanation. The seal speaks when you cannot. The mark of the chosen is not a crown of gold. It's a heart that still believes after the fire. And you, sealed one, still believe. That alone is proof enough. There comes a moment in every chosen life when separation becomes revelation. The ones who couldn't stay, those who walked away, misunderstood you, or faded without explanation. They were not your punishment, they were your prophecy. Their absence created the space where destiny could finally breathe. You kept asking, why did they leave? Heaven answered, because they couldn't go where I'm taking you. It's a painful truth. Elevation always exposes incompatibility. You were carrying a weight not everyone was built to handle. When God begins to enlarge your spirit, He first lightens your circle. Every departure, though it hurt, was divine subtraction. You weren't being abandoned, you were being refined. There's a story of a man who built a boat before there was rain. While he worked, his friends laughed. When he warned, they mocked. But when the flood came, the noise outside turned to silence. And suddenly, the isolation made sense. That's what happens when you are chosen. People misunderstand your preparation until they see your purpose. You felt that ache, the empty table, the unanswered message, the sudden shift. Yet those were not endings. They were adjustments. Some people were chapters, not conclusions. They were meant to teach you loyalty, not stay to the last page. And though your heart wanted to cling, heaven whispered, release them. The story moves forward. According to what is revealed in the book of Proverbs, chapter 20, verse 6. Many claim to have unfailing love, but a faithful person who can find, you are that faithful one. The endurance you gave to relationships, even when they failed you, was proof of your character. Heaven saw your consistency in chaos and recorded it as righteousness. The truth is, not everyone could survive the silence that shaped you. Not everyone could walk through the fire without resentment. Some had to leave so that the next revelation wouldn't crush them. Love them, bless them, release them, but never chase what heaven has already excused. Each departure was pruning, and pruning is mercy disguised as loss. You were carrying branches that no longer bore fruit, and God, ever the careful gardener, began to trim them away. You wept at the sound of cutting, unaware it was the sound of growth. Sometimes you see their faces in memories, and nostalgia whispers, maybe it could have worked. But deep down you know if they had stayed, your roots wouldn't have deepened. Pain became your companion, so purpose could become your home. The loneliness of the chosen is sacred. It's not emptiness, it's preparation. In solitude, you learn to distinguish voices, the one that flatters, the one that manipulates, and the one that truly speaks from love. You became fluent in silence, fluent in discernment. The stillness taught you what noise never could. Now, as you stand at this point of revelation, you can finally see the pattern. The ones who left made room for alignment. The ones who stayed are proof of covenant. You don't carry bitterness, you carry blessing. Your heart is not scarred, it's signed. You have learned to release without resentment, to love without needing return. That's what makes your spirit dangerous to darkness. You forgive faster than offense can harden you. That's how you remain free. And now, as the veil of understanding lifts further, there's something heaven wants you to feel. Not guilt for what's gone, but gratitude for what remains. You have become lighter. The noise has lessened, and within that stillness, purpose hums quietly, waiting for your yes. Maybe this moment feels like standing in a quiet room after a storm, the air clear, your breath steady, your heart finally unclenched. You sense it, don't you? The peace that comes when you stop forcing what was never meant to continue. That peace is your graduation gift. And now, if you feel this truth stirring in your chest, let your agreement be gentle, not pressured. Sometimes obedience looks like breathing. Sometimes worship looks like letting go. When you choose to share this message, to let it flow beyond you, imagine it as the sound of wings opening. When you press that like, when you share, when you subscribe, do it as one releasing doves into morning light, free, effortless, beautiful. It's not a demand, it's devotion, a whisper to heaven that says, I release, I trust, I am ready for what comes next. And let every act of connection be your quiet amen. Let it rise like incense, soft and unseen, declaring to heaven and to your own heart, I'm still here, lighter, wiser, ready. And as those doves rise, so will you. Each wing beat carries a piece of your healing skyward, announcing softly to creation that the chosen has accepted peace over pain. You didn't realize the moment it happened, the instant heaven marked you as one who had passed the final test. There was no trumpet, no vision, no angelic announcement. It was quieter than that. It came in a moment of surrender, a breath between I can't and but I will. That was when the shift occurred. You crossed from endurance to authority without knowing it. You thought you were still struggling, still waiting for proof, still hoping for validation. But heaven had already recorded your promotion. You didn't need to feel different for the realm around you to recognize it. In the unseen, you were clothed with new rank. The old garments of fear, doubt, and hesitation were stripped away, replaced with a robe of steadiness. You stood up as one approved. Your spirit had been tested through the extremes: loss, confusion, silence, rejection, and yet you did not curse the process. You stayed. That endurance became the key. It was the quiet yes that unlocked 1,000 unseen doors. God does not test to torment, He tests to transform. Think of the blacksmith's forge, metal heated until it glows, then hammered into form. To the untrained eye, it looks violent, merciless, but to the master craftsman, it's beauty in progress. That was your life. You were shaped by sacred heat. Every trial struck you, but none destroyed you. The flames refined you until the reflection of heaven appeared in your soul. As recorded in the book of James, chapter 1, verse 12. Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because, having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised. That crown is not jewelry, it is identity. It is the weight of responsibility and revelation resting on your head. It means you now carry what others fear to hold. You are a living answer to questions your generation hasn't yet dared to ask. You've become proof that endurance births power. When heaven declares that a chosen one has passed, it doesn't mean perfection, it means alignment. Your steps now harmonize with divine timing. What you call coincidence will soon reveal itself as coordination. You'll notice that people begin to cross your path at the right moment. Resources appear exactly when needed, and words flow with uncommon clarity. That's the signature of someone who has graduated from survival into stewardship. And yet, this promotion isn't loud. Heaven's advancements are subtle. It's like standing at the edge of dawn. Everything looks the same. But the light has changed. That's you now, same world. New illumination. You might still feel unqualified. But qualification in Heaven's kingdom is not earned through performance. It's revealed through perseverance. You stayed true when quitting looked logical. You held faith when logic failed. That tenacity is the language of heaven. And heaven always responds to its own dialect. There was once a man who labored in silence for years, believing his prayers went unnoticed. But the day came when everything around him began to shift. People who once ignored him began to seek his counsel. He hadn't changed overnight. He had simply come into alignment with his appointed time. What he carried inside had matured enough to manifest. That is your story now. Passing the final test means your vision is purified. You no longer chase opportunity, you attract it. You don't compete, you create. You understand that what belongs to you doesn't need to be fought for, only stewarded. Heaven can now trust you with visibility because the hidden years have killed your need for validation. Chosen one. You must understand this. The test wasn't about proving your worth, it was about proving your readiness. And you are ready. The weight that once felt unbearable has turned into wings. You no longer drag your calling. You soar with it. You stand now where many gave up. You've learned that miracles often disguise themselves as endurance. Every unanswered prayer was shaping your capacity to hold greater blessings. You see differently because you've been refined differently. You recognize peace where others see stillness. Divine timing where others see delay. So when you look in the mirror now, see not the same person who began the journey, but the one who emerged from fire still glowing. The evidence of your passing isn't applause, it's peace. If this word resonates in your spirit, write 9,999 inches, the comments. It isn't a trend, it's testimony. 4 digits that say, I've endured, I've passed, I'm ready. Your comment becomes a quiet seal of recognition between you and heaven. You've passed the final test, not because life became easy, but because you stopped running from what was shaping you. The wilderness bowed to your endurance. The silence bowed to your faith. Now, everything that once resisted you will recognize you. Walk forward. Heaven has already stamped your name on the next assignment. There is a shift you cannot see, but can feel a quiet authority resting on your shoulders. You may not understand it yet, but heaven does. You have been promoted in the spirit. You are no longer in training. You have stepped into command. The battles that once broke you now respond to your voice. The winds that once tossed you now obey. This is the new spiritual rank of the chosen. Authority does not always come with applause. It comes with awareness. It begins in silence and is recognized in how creation reacts to you. The same prayers you once whispered, trembling now, carry weight. When you speak peace, peace manifests. When you declare healing, the atmosphere bends. You are walking in a level of influence that does not depend on followers or fame. It is rooted in faithfulness. You earned this through endurance. Through nights when obedience felt thankless, heaven watched as you chose righteousness in secret. as you forgave, when no one asked, as you served when there was no recognition. Those moments became credentials. Promotion in the Spirit is not granted by men, it is witnessed by angels. Heaven speaks clearly through the writings in the book of Psalms, chapter 75, verse 6. For promotion comes neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south, but God is the judge. He puts down one and exalts another. Lie. That exaltation is not about platform, it is about placement. You are being positioned where your light will have impact. God promotes by trust, not titles. The ones who tried to outrun you may be ahead in visibility, but you have surpassed them in substance. You carry authority not because of recognition, but because of revelation. Imagine a soldier who has fought many unseen battles. His armor scratched but intact. The general walks by and pins a new insignia on his chest. The soldier does not cheer. He simply nods. He knows the rank is not decoration, it is duty. That is you now. Heaven has pinned unseen stripes upon your soul. You might feel a new heaviness. That is not burden, it is mantle. Responsibility weighs differently than warfare. You no longer fight for survival, you fight for others. Your voice now carries rescue for those still trapped where you once stood. That's what authority means in heaven's language. The right to deliver others from the battles you've already won. And yet, with this elevation comes humility. True authority bows before using power. You have learned that to lead is to serve, and to speak is to listen first. You carry the calm of someone who has seen storms and still believes in sunlight. The authority that comes from brokenness is the purest form of strength. It knows compassion, not control. You'll notice small signs of the shift. Environments will change when you arrive. Conversations will realign around your presence. People will confide in you without knowing why. It's not coincidence, it's calling. The spirit within you is magnetic to the weary and the wounded. That's what happens when heaven entrusts you with light. Darkness begins to move aside. There was once a woman who had endured long seasons of betrayal and loss. One day, she walked into a room where conflict filled the air. Without speaking, the tension softened. Her peace carried authority. It disarmed anger without argument. That is the evidence of promotion, not louder words, but deeper presence. Still, the enemy will test this new level. The attacks may not disappear, but they will lose their bite. What once wounded you will now reveal your wisdom. Every challenge that arises is not to break you, but to confirm that you belong here. Even opposition becomes acknowledgement. Hell does not fight what it does not fear. Carry this awareness with reverence. Authority is not for control, but for covering. You have been entrusted to protect, to intercede, to lead by example. Heaven's generals do not boast, they build. And as one now counted among them, you are called to move differently, to walk softly, speak wisely, love fiercely. When you pray now, you are not petitioning, you are partnering. You no longer plead for victory, you pronounce it. That's the language of your new rank. You have crossed from student to steward, from wanderer to warrior, chosen one. Stand tall but stay gentle. Your authority was not handed out cheaply, it was purchased by perseverance. The mantle you carry is not ornamental, it is operational. You are not here to impress, you are here to impact. The world may never see the insignia heaven placed upon you, but creation already bows in recognition. For so long, you have asked, "Why am I here?" The question echoed through seasons of waiting and wondering. Now, the answer begins to unfold, not all at once, but like dawn, one ray at a time. This is the moment heaven reveals your assignment. You were not chosen merely to survive or to witness miracles. You were chosen to carry one. Your life has been the blueprint of a message. Every detour, every heartbreak, every victory formed the vocabulary of your calling. What seemed like random events were actually sentences in a divine story. The lessons you've learned, the compassion you've gathered, the strength you've cultivated, these are the tools heaven placed in your hands for this precise hour. You were not built for comfort, you were built for confrontation, spiritual, not violent. You were born to disrupt darkness with grace, to heal what hatred has broken, to carry truth into places where deception has reigned too long. The world does not need more noise, it needs carriers of light who have walked through silence and come out glowing. That's you. The assignment is not a destination, it's a posture. It means waking up each day, aware that you are heaven's representative in ordinary spaces. It means seeing opportunity in inconvenience, ministry in moments that seem mundane. You don't wait for platforms, you build altars wherever you stand. According to what is written in the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 14, "You are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hidden." No, that is your calling. You are illumination in a weary age. You do not need validation to shine. You simply need to remain faithful to the flame inside you. Light does not ask permission, it just appears. And darkness adjusts. Your assignment might not look grand at first. It may be a conversation that changes a heart, a prayer whispered over someone who never hears your name, a quiet act of mercy when no one watches. These small flames create great fires. Heaven measures not size, but sincerity. Think of a candle in a storm. The wind roars, yet the flame refuses to die. That is you, steady, glowing, defiant against despair. Your purpose is to bring warmth to the cold and direction to the lost. Each act of kindness, each word of truth, each step in love widens heaven's reach on earth. Do not underestimate your influence. You carry answers to problems you haven't even seen yet. People will encounter you and feel peace without knowing why. That's because your presence carries evidence of another realm. The same spirit that comforted you now flows through you to comfort others. There was once a young man who felt ordinary, no special gifts, no loud calling. But he had one habit. He listened. He noticed those in pain and quietly served them. Years later, when storms came to his city, people ran to him for guidance. He hadn't changed. He had simply lived his assignment. His faithfulness turned into authority. So it will be with you. Heaven trusts those who serve quietly before they ever stand publicly. You've proven that obedience matters more than recognition. And now, God is expanding your reach, not for fame, but for function. The light in you will find platforms you didn't pursue, because light cannot be confined. Yet your assignment is not without cost. You will feel the pull of distraction, the temptation to compare, to compete, to question. But the secret is focus. Stay close to the source that lit you. Do not trade authenticity for applause. The world will always try to dim what it cannot define. Remember, you were not chosen to fit in, You were chosen to stand out by shining differently. Purpose doesn't come with clarity. First, it comes with trust. Step where light exists, and more will appear. That's how divine guidance works. Revelation follows motion. The more you obey, the clearer the path becomes. You'll look back one day and see that the detours were directions, and the waiting was preparation. Your assignment is not something you must chase, it's something you must embody. You are the message. Every scar is scripture. Every victory, a verse. Every breath, a reminder that heaven still writes through human hands. Walk in your calling gently but boldly. You are not replacing anyone. You are revealing something new. The light you carry was designed for this generation, this culture, this exact moment in time. Heaven does not make duplicates. It sends originals. You are one. And as you continue forward, remember, the true measure of success is obedience. The light does not compete with the sun. It simply shines where it's placed. That's what you are called to do. Shine exactly where you are. There is a table in heaven where your name has already been spoken, long before you were aware of it. A council of light-gathered angels, elders, and the presence of the King himself, and your name echoed across eternity. It wasn't just a mention, it was a commissioning. Your destiny was not decided in chaos, but in conversation. Every chosen one has a moment when heaven remembers them out loud. This is that story. When the time came, the scrolls of destiny were opened, and among thousands of names, yours shone like fire. The Father did not discuss your perfection. He declared your purpose. The conversation was not about your weakness, but about your willingness. Heaven said, "This one will walk through storms, but still sing. This one will carry the word in silence and not lose heart." That heavenly counsel didn't predict an easy path for you. It designed an eternal impact. You were appointed not because you were flawless, but because you were faithful. The trials were never random. They were rehearsals for authority. The seasons of breaking were necessary so that glory could rest on you without pride consuming it. There was once a shepherd boy named David who wasn't even invited to the gathering when the prophet came to anoint a king. Yet heaven had already spoken his name. While others saw a boy, God saw a ruler. While others dismissed him, heaven had decided that same divine pattern rests on you. Even when people overlook you, heaven cannot forget you. As proclaimed in the first book of Samuel, chapter 16, verse 7. The Lord does not see as man sees, for man looks on the outward appearance, but the Lord looks on the heart. That verse is your confirmation. Heaven chose you for what others couldn't measure. It wasn't your resume that qualified you, it was your heart that kept beating through hardship. You were seen when no one saw, heard when no one listened, valued when no one valued you. The meeting of heaven's council wasn't a moment of flattery, it was a decree. The host of angels recorded the details of your mission, the people you would touch, the places you would walk, the words you would speak. They noted your battles too, because even those would serve your testimony. And when the meeting ended, heaven sealed your scroll with a word written in light, appointed. And that's why certain things couldn't destroy you. You've been protected by decree. Hell cannot erase what heaven has recorded. Even when you felt like quitting, grace intervened, not as coincidence, but as covenant. The spiritual world recognizes your assignment even before you do. That's why resistance rises when revelation draws near. The enemy always attacks what heaven has announced. You've noticed it, the sudden warfare before a breakthrough, the confusion before clarity, the loneliness before connection. These are not random cycles. They are spiritual echoes of that ancient conversation. Heaven's decree provokes the attention of darkness, but it also guarantees victory. The moment your name was spoken in that council, time itself began rearranging. People, opportunities, even closed doors, all of them started aligning with your story. You are living in the ripple of that divine decision. Every miracle that meets you is an echo from that table. Every open door whispers the same word: appointed. This awareness should not inflate you. It should humble you. For those chosen by heaven are called to walk with gentle strength. Authority without humility becomes tyranny, but humility with divine favor becomes transformation. You were never chosen to dominate. You were chosen to demonstrate God's heart through your hands. So when the weight of calling feels heavy, remember, it was heaven that trusted you with it. You were not selected by accident. Your name was called deliberately, your mission spoken clearly, and your future sealed completely. And when you doubt, close your eyes for a moment and imagine that counsel again. See the scroll opened. Hear your name spoken once more, not in condemnation, but in confirmation. Feel the warmth that followed when heaven said, "This one belongs to me." Lo, that decree still stands. You are still marked. You are still sent. Now, if your heart feels that truth, if you sense that the same divine whisper is stirring within, let it become an act of remembrance. Write in the comments, "I am chosen." It's not a slogan, it's a seal. Those 3 words echo what heaven already declared about you long ago. When you write, "I am chosen," you're not just agreeing with words, you're reaffirming a heavenly truth. It's your spirit answering the council's decree. Those 3 words are more than text, they're testimony. They say, "I know who sent me, and I will not forget why I'm here." There is a sacred weight that follows glory, the weight of the mantle. It doesn't crush you, it crowns you. You feel it in your chest sometimes. That quiet heaviness that is not sadness but significance. It's the realization that what rests upon you is bigger than you. Heaven has entrusted you with something eternal, and though invisible, it changes the air around you. You can sense it, can't you? The shift from asking, "Why me?" to whispering, "Use me." That's the transformation the mantle brings. It moves you from questioning to carrying. The fire that once burned you now burns through you. What used to hurt has become holy. The mantle is not an accessory, it's an assignment woven into your spirit. It carries the scent of sacrifice and the softness of mercy. You didn't receive it because you were the loudest or the most qualified. You received it because, when others gave up, you stayed. You proved trustworthy in obscurity, and heaven placed a cloak of purpose upon your shoulders. But to carry a mantle means learning to live differently. The same weight that empowers you can also isolate you. Those who carry fire cannot walk casually among the comfortable. You begin to notice you no longer fit where you once belonged. It's not rejection, it's refinement. The higher the calling, the narrower the path. As written in the book of 2 Kings, chapter 2, verse 13, he took up also the mantle of Elijah that fell from him, and went back, and stood by the bank of Jordan, That moment was not just a transfer of cloth, it was a transfer of continuation. The mantle always falls to the faithful. It lands on those who endure long enough to be ready for it. Like Elisha, you waited, you watched, you learned, and now, heaven says, take it up. Oh, when you carry a mantle, you stop chasing relevance and start carrying resonance. Your voice no longer seeks to be heard, it seeks to heal. You begin to sense the unseen cries of others, to carry their pain in prayer, to walk through the world as one who knows what it costs to bring light. The mantle does not make you superior, it makes you surrendered. There was once a woman who spent years interceding for people who never knew her name. She carried burdens in silence, whispered prayers over nations she'd never visit. One night, she dreamed of a robe made of threads that glowed faintly, each thread representing someone she had prayed for. When she woke, she realized that was her mantle, invisible to others, luminous to heaven. You have one too. It may not be public, but it is powerful. Every chosen one carries a design stitched by divine hands, woven from pain, patience, and purpose. That's why your path has been different. You've been fashioned for endurance, not entertainment. And yet, the mantle isn't meant to be hidden forever. There comes a time when heaven says, step out and wear it openly. This is that time. You've carried the weight privately. Now you will carry the witness publicly. The world needs the oil you've paid for. Don't hide the light that cost you so much to protect. The mantle will draw attention, but it's not for attention's sake. It's so others can recognize the same God who carried you. When they see peace in your presence, they will know it's possible. When they feel love radiating from you, they'll remember heaven still reaches down. That's the mantle's purpose, to remind the world that grace still walks among them. Sometimes, though, the mantle feels heavy. It asks for silence when you'd rather speak, compassion when you'd rather close your heart. But remember, the weight you feel is not burden, it's balance. Glory has gravity. You carry heaven's equilibrium in a world out of order. Now pause for a moment. Take a breath. Imagine yourself standing by the river of your own Jordan, holding that unseen cloak. The wind rises, and the fabric hums with promise. You've come this far through storms, and yet the mantle rests perfectly. It fits, because it was made for you. If your spirit feels that truth, let your response be gentle. When you like, when you share, when you subscribe, do it not as an act of support, but as a symbol, like lighting a candle in a cathedral after a revelation. Each action says softly, I carry this light too. Don't rush it. Let the moment breathe. Your engagement becomes worship. Your connection becomes offering. Just as Elisha lifted the mantle and struck the water, each simple act, you take ripples outward, declaring that the next generation of chosen ones still stands. You are part of that lineage now, flame passed from hand to hand, heart to heart, screen to soul. The mantle lives on, not because it is worn, but because it is shared. Before every unveiling comes resistance. The enemy's last attempt is not a rumor, it is a rhythm. Whenever heaven prepares to display what it has hidden, darkness makes one final move to distract or destroy. You've felt it, the sudden weariness for no reason, the conflict rising from nowhere, the doubt whispering at midnight. That is not coincidence. It's confirmation. The enemy cannot undo your calling, so he tries to unseat your confidence. He whispers that you are not ready, that your past disqualifies you, that you misheard heaven, but you have learned his tone now. You recognize it as recycled lies. This final assault is not proof that you are losing, it is proof that you are leaving the old battlefield. Every chosen one faces this moment. It is the crossing between obscurity and manifestation, where the adversary throws illusions like smoke, hoping you'll mistake them for fire. He wants you to retreat just before revelation, but you won't. You've been trained by too much truth to turn back now. The voice of God thundered in the book of Exodus, chapter 14, verse 14. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. That stillness is your weapon. The enemy thrives on reaction. But when you stand in peace, is Chaos loses purpose. You learned this in earlier seasons. The storms that once scared you now serve you. They push you forward rather than paralyze you. Think of the caterpillar in the final stage before flight. The cocoon tightens, pressure increases. From the outside, it looks like death. But inside, wings are forming. That's what this pressure is, the transformation moments before release. The discomfort proves you're close to emergence. There was once a man who almost gave up on his ministry, days before his breakthrough. His prayers felt empty, his passion gone. Then, while walking alone, he heard within himself a whisper, not loud, but steady. Hold your line. He obeyed. Within days, what he had prayed for years began to unfold. Heaven always tests perseverance before performance. Your life carries the same tension. The closer you come to release, the more the atmosphere shakes. It's as if the universe itself must rearrange to accommodate your next level. People may misread your stillness as weakness, not knowing it's the silence before thunder. The enemy cannot defeat what he cannot define. You have changed too much. The strategies that worked against you before are now useless. Your patience confuses him. Your peace disarms him. And your worship, quiet but unwavering, burns him. You've learned that warfare isn't always shouting. Sometimes it's simply not quitting. Remember how storms gather before sunrise. That is this moment. You can almost sense dawn pressing through. Everything in creation seems to hold its breath. Heaven is preparing to showcase what it's been cultivating in secret. The final attack often comes disguised as old fears resurfacing. You may see familiar patterns, sudden delays, strained relationships, unexplainable fatigue. Don't panic. Recognize it. Call it by its true name, resistance. And once named, it loses its authority. There is something sacred about knowing your opponent's last move. It means you're already standing on victory ground. Every dart aimed at you becomes fuel for your flame. Every closed door strengthens your direction. Even opposition confirms relevance. You are not under attack, you are under announcement. The shaking you feel is not collapse, it's construction. Heaven is clearing the atmosphere so your voice can travel farther. Chosen one, look at your journey. Every time the enemy said, "This will finish them," it only formed you. You've become too grounded to be uprooted, too illuminated to be intimidated. The battle doesn't shrink you anymore. It showcases your endurance. You may still feel tremors of resistance, but they cannot hold you. The foundation of your faith has been tested and proven unbreakable. And now, the same storms that once terrified you will testify for you. They will say, "This one endured. This one belongs to heaven." No, so let the last attempt come. Let the shadows gather. You have already outlived them. The darkness has run out of language to threaten you with, "Be still. Stand tall. And let heaven finish what it started." The enemy has played his final card. The rest of this story belongs entirely to light. Even now, the air feels different, lighter, cleaner, charged with promise. What tried to crush you only cleared the path ahead. The noise fades, but purpose remains. This silence after battle isn't emptiness, it's peace. It's heaven exhaling over you, saying softly, "It is done. You stood your ground. Now, rise and walk in victory." And signs always follow. Surrender. You've walked through silence, through warfare, through the ache of separation. And now the air begins to hum differently. The prophetic confirmation has begun. Heaven never forgets to honor faith that endured in obscurity. What was hidden in the spiritual realm begins to echo in the natural. Doors open without explanation. Words of confirmation appear from unexpected mouths. You find yourself walking into what you once only prayed for. At first, it almost feels unreal. After years of pressing forward with no proof, now everything aligns with effortless precision. You hesitate to believe it at first, afraid the blessing might vanish if you breathe too deeply. But it won't, because this time, it's built on the foundation of faith, not striving. This is the moment when what you carried privately is validated publicly, not for ego, but for evidence. Heaven is letting the world see what it already saw in you. The promises you held for so long are finding form, and the invisible is becoming visible. There was once a woman who prayed every morning for her son who had wandered far from faith. She prayed through disappointment and distance until her prayers became quiet sighs. One day, without warning, he called her, saying, "Mom, I had a dream last night. I saw light." That was her confirmation. She realized heaven always answers. But sometimes the echo takes years to reach the earth. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah. Chapter 33, verse 3, "Call to me, and I will answer you, and show you great and mighty things which you do not know." That verse lives in you now. You called, you waited, and now He answers not just with words, but with wonders. The prophetic confirmation is not always dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet, a text that arrives at the right moment, a stranger's encouragement that mirrors your prayer, a dream that reveals the next step. These are heaven's fingerprints, small enough to miss if you rush, clear enough to move your heart if you listen. You've entered a season of divine visibility. It's as if heaven is turning on lights one by one, illuminating everything you couldn't see before. The same doors that refused to open now swing wide as if they recognize your authority. The same places that once drained you now refresh you. The environment itself is shifting to welcome who you've become. Don't mistake these confirmations for coincidence. The language of heaven is timing, not chance. Each alignment, each moment of grace is evidence that you have been seen and sent. You may even notice that old prayers resurface, prayers you forgot you prayed, but now they bloom. Decades later, right on time. That's the rhythm of God. His delays are deposits, not denials. Every seed planted in faith matures in its own appointed hour. Sometimes confirmation comes disguised as conflict, resolving itself without your intervention. Other times, it comes as peace, unexplainable, steady, wrapping your heart in calm after long turmoil. Pay attention to peace. It is heaven's signature. You will also begin to notice how people respond differently to you. They sense something they can't describe. They treat you with a quiet reverence, not because of status, but because of spirit. That's how heaven validates its vessels. It shifts perception around them. Chosen one. Understand this. Confirmation doesn't mean the end of testing. It means the beginning of trust. Heaven now trusts you to carry revelation responsibly. You're being called into a deeper partnership, where miracles follow, not emotion, but obedience. You've learned to listen, to wait, to discern, and that makes you dangerous to darkness. As signs multiply, humility becomes your safeguard. The same grace that lifted you will keep you. If you remember who authored the story, don't hold the blessing too tightly. Let it flow through you. The river that blesses others never runs dry. Look at your life right now, the little details aligning, the words coming true, the dreams finding form. This isn't luck. This is prophecy fulfilled through patience. Heaven is confirming that every unseen tear watered something eternal. And when your heart feels overwhelmed with gratitude, let that feeling rise like incense. Don't silence it. Let your soul respond with acknowledgement, not to boast, but to agree with what heaven already said about you. If you feel this alignment in your spirit, mark it not with many words, but with a simple sign. Write 555 inches the comments. Those 3 digits carry meaning between you and heaven. Grace multiplied, favor confirmed, faith fulfilled. They don't summon power, they signify agreement. When you type them, you're saying, I see the signs, I believe the promise, I receive the confirmation. End from. This is not the end, it's the unveiling. Heaven is echoing through your days now, proving that waiting was not wasted. The sound you hear in your spirit is the applause of the unseen, celebrating the one who did not give up. There comes a stage in every divine journey when revelation turns into responsibility. It is the moment you discover that the greatest crown you will ever wear is the crown of obedience. Not the glittering crown of public admiration, but the quiet one forged in the fires of surrender. You have reached that stage now. Obedience sounds simple, but it is sacred. It is not about following rules, it is about responding to relationship. You've learned by now that God does not shout commands. He whispers invitations. Each instruction, each nudge, each delay was a test of trust, disguised as inconvenience. Obedience is the love language of the chosen. You were trained for this through every small decision that required faith. There were moments when the path of logic tempted you, but something deeper inside said, wait. And even when you didn't understand, you obeyed. That was the secret moment when heaven smiled. The obedience that cost you peace for a night secured peace for a lifetime. Many people chase anointing, but few understand that anointing follows obedience. Power without surrender is pollution. It turns divine gifts into self-serving tools. You were refined differently. You learned to bow before you spoke, to pray before you planned. That posture became your true qualification, as written in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 5, Verse 33. Walk in all the ways that the Lord your God has commanded you, that you may live, and that it may go well with you, and that you may prolong your days in the land. That verse isn't a promise of comfort, it's a pattern of alignment. When you obey, life aligns, not instantly, but inevitably. Your obedience becomes the unseen architecture holding up your destiny. The crown of obedience is different from all others. It glows only in humility. You can't force it. You grow into it. Each yes to God, even when trembling, becomes a gem in that crown. Each act of forgiveness, each moment of restraint, each surrender of control polishes it brighter. There was once a woman who dreamed of great ministry, but found herself in an endless season of serving others behind the scenes. She carried chairs, cleaned floors, and prayed for people who never thanked her. One night, she asked God, "When will it be my time?" The answer came quietly, "It already is. Your obedience is your ministry." From then on, she served with joy, realizing that obedience is never wasted. That is the kind of obedience heaven honors, one that trusts God's timing more than its own ambition. The chosen are not measured by visibility, but by willingness. The greatest victories happen in the silence of private surrender. The path of obedience is not easy. It requires dying daily to pride and preference. There will be moments when your obedience offends others, when following God's direction costs relationships, comfort, and applause. But remember, obedience is not rebellion against man. It's alignment with heaven. And though obedience may appear lonely, it is never empty. Every sacrifice seeds future strength. Every yes becomes a bridge for someone else's miracle. Obedience multiplies, it never diminishes. Look closely at your life and you'll see the pattern. The times you obeyed, even when you were uncertain, those are the very moments that changed your path. The times you forgave, when bitterness begged you to hold on, those are the places where heaven took notes. The times you showed up for others when you were weary, those are the seeds that became favor later. You wear the crown of obedience, not on your head, but in your heart. It's visible in how you treat people, how you handle waiting, how you respond when unseen. Heaven's crowns are not jeweled, they're proven. Now, when you hear that inner voice prompting you, you no longer argue. You recognize the tone. You've learned the rhythm of obedience, the peace that follows the yes. That's maturity, trusting God beyond explanation. This crown does not fade with time, it strengthens. As you continue walking in obedience, you begin to move with divine rhythm. You'll notice grace meeting you before you even ask, opportunities greeting you before you knock. That's the fruit of alignment. Chosen one. Obedience is not about loss, it's about legacy. You are building something eternal every time you choose trust over control. The world may not applaud it, but heaven records every decision. So, walk gently, listen deeply, and obey quickly. The crown you wear now cannot be taken. It can only grow brighter with every yes you whisper into eternity. Each obedient step becomes a spark, lighting paths for those who follow. The glow of your surrender guides generations, proving that true greatness is simply faith, lived faithfully. There is a sound rising across the earth, a quiet summoning that only the awakened can hear. It calls not to crowds but to remnants, to those who have endured, believed, and stayed faithful when the world drifted away. You are part of that call. Heaven is gathering its remnant. This is not a gathering of titles or ranks, but of hearts. The gathering of the remnant is happening not in temples made by hands, but in souls rebuilt by fire. Across nations, people who have never met are feeling the same stirring, an inner voice saying, "It's time." And you have felt that tug too. It's the sudden awareness that your story was never meant to stand alone. The same spirit that sustained you through solitude is now linking you to others who carry complementary flames. What was once isolation becomes interconnection. Heaven never meant for one light to bear the night alone. It designed a constellation. This is the mystery of divine unity. Each chosen one burns uniquely, yet together they form a pattern visible from heaven's vantage point. What looked like scattered individuals were always pieces of one revelation. You are a part of a tapestry stretching across generations. Each thread purposeful, each color ordained, as revealed in the first letter to the Corinthians, chapter 12, verse 27. Now you are the body of Christ, and each one of you is a part of it. That verse is more than metaphor, it's map. The remnant moves not by hierarchy but harmony. Voice. Each gift, each scar holds value. The Spirit orchestrates without error, connecting those who once walked alone into a living symphony of light. You will begin to notice this gathering subtly. Encounters that feel coincidental are actually divine appointments. You'll meet people who carry familiar fire in their eyes, who speak your language of faith without needing to explain. There will be instant recognition, as if you've known them in eternity before meeting on earth. That's because you have. When remnants meet, there's no competition, only confirmation. Each heart strengthens the other. Where one carries healing, another carries vision. Where one carries wisdom, another carries boldness. Together they form completeness. The isolation of your previous seasons was preparation to appreciate this unity. There was once a man who lived in a remote village, convinced his purpose was small because his platform was small. Then one day, a traveler stopped by and shared a vision almost identical to his. They prayed together, and the Spirit fell in power neither had seen alone. From that day, they built something that touched thousands. The remnant multiplies when it unites. Your journey will soon intersect with others whose scars mirror yours. Do not shy away. Community for the chosen is not comfort, it's continuation. The same God who met you in solitude now moves through solidarity. Where you once fought alone, you will now build together. The gathering of the remnant isn't about gathering numbers, it's about gathering hearts. It's the creation of a network of light across nations, an invisible web of prayer, compassion, and purpose. Some will connect online, others in quiet rooms or chance encounters. The method doesn't matter, the message does. Heaven is forming its army of restoration, and yet, unity doesn't erase individuality. The remnant's strength lies in diversity. One voice may roar like thunder, another may whisper peace, yet both carry divine resonance. When they speak in harmony, darkness trembles because it cannot divide what God has joined in purpose. You will sense this gathering before you see it. The air will feel charged when two remnants meet. Their presence will refresh you like rain after drought. That's how you'll know God is weaving His people back into one movement, one mission, one melody of redemption. This unity is not organized by man, nor sustained by effort. It's birthed by obedience, and fueled by love. When love leads, revival follows. The remnant does not need stages or strategies. It needs hearts willing to burn together without consuming each other. Chosen one, understand this truth. You are not a lone flame trying to survive the wind. You are part of a wildfire. Heaven has been quietly preparing. Every ember matters. Every voice carries sound. Every heart that still believes contributes to the great returning. So when you sense that divine pull toward others of the same fire, do not resist. Reach out, connect, and recognize what's happening. The isolation was never to separate you permanently. It was to sharpen your flame so you could join others without losing shape. The gathering of the remnant is here, and you are among them. Together, you will rebuild what was broken, restore what was lost, and reignite what was fading. Heaven's melody now has harmony, and your note is essential. There are moments in time when heaven opens its archives and reveals what was once too weighty for the world to bear. You've reached one of those moments, the final revelation. It doesn't arrive with thunder or lightning, but through stillness, through the quiet unveiling of truth that has waited for your maturity to catch up to its magnitude. For years, you've carried questions. Why the pain? Why the delay? Why the silence? And now the answers come. Not as sentences, but as sight. You begin to understand what heaven was building inside you, all along a vessel that could hold both fire and tenderness, both power and purity. The tests weren't punishment, they were calibration. The revelation is this: you were never fighting for victory, you were fighting from it. The cross wasn't just an event, it was an inheritance. What Jesus carried to completion, you now carry to continuation. You are a continuation of redemption's story, a living echo of divine persistence. That's why life's weight never crushed you. It was training you to handle glory without breaking. As declared in the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 18, "For I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us." The glory is not coming to you, it's coming through you. Heaven doesn't decorate its chosen, it transforms them into windows through which its light can pass. This is the revelation you were born to see, that everything you endured was birthing the very presence you now carry. The revelation changes how you see everything. You stop asking for escape and start embracing assignment. You stop measuring success by comfort and start measuring it by impact. What once felt like delay now feels like design. The moments you thought God had left you were the moments He was closest, adjusting the foundation before adding the weight of destiny. You see now why the path was narrow, why certain people could not stay, why certain dreams had to die before they could be resurrected correctly. You are no longer offended by pruning, you are grateful for it, because what remains after pruning is purpose refined. This revelation also comes with responsibility. Once you've seen light, you can no longer pretend darkness is harmless. Once you've experienced truth, you become accountable for it. But that's not a burden, it's an honor. You are heaven's messenger, disguised as a survivor. Your story carries answers that sermons can't. And so, as this revelation unfolds, you begin to sense heaven's rhythm again, a soft drumbeat calling you to share the light. Not through striving, but through being. Wherever you go, the room brightens. Whoever hears you, hope rekindles. You've become a living prophecy. One that doesn't just speak truth, but embodies it. Think of yourself as a lantern carried through a storm. The glass may be cracked from years of impact, but the light inside has only grown steadier. Every scar on your surface refracts the flame into new colors. The revelation is not perfection, it's illumination through imperfection. You are standing now at the threshold where purpose meets peace. What once frightened you now fascinates you, because you finally see God's fingerprints in what you thought was failure. You understand that revelation is not information, it's transformation. You cannot unsee what you now know, that you were never forsaken, only formed. If your heart trembles as you read this, it's not emotion, it's recognition. You've been waiting for this confirmation. This holy understanding that your life was always part of something vast and divine. The world didn't break you, it baptized you in purpose. Now, breathe. Chosen one. Feel that? It's not exhaustion, it's release. Heaven is exhaling through you, saying, it's time to shine without fear. And when that truth settles deep, when you feel the warmth of realization unfurl inside your spirit, let your response be an offering. When you like, when you share, when you subscribe, do it not as routine, but as remembrance. Each act is symbolic, like lighting a candle after revelation. It says, I see now, I choose light. Now, and if this word settles gently in your spirit, let it leave a trace. Write in the comments something that breathes gratitude, even a single word of your own, not for reaction, but reflection. Each word becomes a feather on the wind, carrying your thank you into heaven's open sky. This is how revelation travels from one awakened heart to another, from one spark to the next. When you choose to pass the light on, you're joining heaven's rhythm, spreading truth disguised as tenderness across a weary world. So let your engagement be your amen, gentle yet eternal. Let your presence in this space be your declaration. The revelation has come, and I am ready to carry it forward. There is a stirring in the unseen realm, a movement that feels both ancient and new. The time of waiting has passed. The moment of marching has come. The marching orders for the end-time army are being released, and you are one of those being summoned. This isn't a call to violence, but to vigilance. It is not about swords and armor of metal, but about hearts wrapped in truth, compassion, and courage. The kingdom does not advance through noise, it advances through obedience. The world has heard enough speeches, it needs demonstration. The end-time army is not made of conquerors in the worldly sense, but of servants who refuse to compromise. Its strength is purity, its strategy is love, and its weapon is truth spoken with authority. You have been prepared for this. Every test was basic training, every tear a sharpening. You've learned how to fight unseen battles, how to stand firm when others flee, and how to speak peace into chaos. You now carry wisdom that can stabilize storms. As written in the book of Ephesians, chapter 6, verse 13, therefore take up the whole armor of God, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day. And having done all, to stand. That is your first order, to stand, not to panic, not to hide, but to hold your position in faith. Standing may look simple, but it is warfare in its purest form. When the world collapses in confusion, those who stand anchored in truth become living beacons of stability. The second order is to speak, not recklessly, but righteously. Your voice is no longer just expression, it is execution. When you speak hope, heaven moves. When you declare truth, deception retreats. Words carry the weight of worlds, and yours now carry the backing of heaven. That's why silence in this season feels heavy, because what's inside you was meant to be released. The third order is to build. You are not here to survive what's coming. You are here to shape it. Every act of compassion is construction. Every prayer builds walls of protection. Every word of truth lays foundation for revival. Heaven's blueprint requires builders who know how to combine power with patience. You are one of them. And finally, the fourth order, to remain pure. This is the most difficult and the most essential. The closer you stand to glory, the subtler the temptations become. Pride, offense, and distraction are the enemy's quietest weapons. Purity is not perfection, it is consistency of heart. It means doing the right thing when no one applauds, staying gentle when provoked, and remaining honest even when it costs. The end-time army doesn't march for victory, it marches from it. The cross was the final conquest. Now we carry its banner through the earth. The mission is restoration, to mend what greed has broken, to love where hatred has poisoned, to illuminate where confusion has darkened. You may think, I'm not a soldier, but you are. You've fought unseen wars against despair, against fear, against the temptation to quit. You've learned endurance. You've mastered stillness. Those are the marks of heaven's army. The battlefield may not look like a field at all. It might be your home, your community, your daily routines. But every space you occupy becomes holy ground when you walk in divine awareness. There was once a teacher who quietly mentored children in a forgotten village. She thought her work was small until years later, one of her students rose to lead nations with integrity. Heaven called her a general long before anyone knew her name. That is what true spiritual authority looks like: impact without announcement. Your marching orders are not about movement alone, they are about mindset. The army you belong to does not gather by force, but by faith. Its march is not measured in steps, but in obedience. You advance every time you choose integrity over convenience, compassion over indifference, humility over pride. Chosen one. This is your era of engagement. The season of hiding is over. You don't need to shout, you simply need to shine. Walk through each day as if heaven were walking through you, because it is. Do not fear the magnitude of this calling. You were never expected to do it alone. The same Spirit that trained you will continue to guide you. The Commander of Light goes before you, behind you, and within you. You move in divine formation, even when you walk alone. The marching orders are clear. Stand in truth. Speak with grace. Build with faith. And remain pure in purpose. That is how heaven's army wins, not through domination, but through demonstration of divine love. And as you move forward into this next chapter, remember, you are not merely participating in prophecy, you are fulfilling it. Every step you take echoes in eternity. There comes a moment when everything that has been spoken, taught, and endured converges into clarity. That moment is now. This is the unveiling, the season where the light inside you fully meets the world around you. You have moved from survival to significance, from hiddenness to inheritance. What was once a whisper has become a declaration. You have traveled through darkness and learned to see in it. You have been humbled by storms, strengthened by silence, and purified by persistence. Now, the light that formed in secret begins to rise, not in arrogance, but in quiet confidence. The glory unveiled and destiny fulfilled. It sounds like an ending, but it is truly a beginning. The glory you carry is not ornamental, it is operational. It is not a glow for display, but a guidance for direction. Everywhere you step, purpose awakens. The ground responds differently to those who know who they are. You walk as a revelation, not a question. As written in the book of Isaiah, chapter 60, verse 2, "For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and deep darkness the people. But the Lord will arise upon you, and his glory shall be seen upon you." And that is what happens now. The glory that once hovered begins to rest. The presence that once visited now abides. It is no longer moments of encounter, it is a lifestyle of communion. You no longer seek the light, you have become it. This glory is weight, not glitter. It brings peace instead of pride. Those who encounter you will feel calm before they feel awe. Because true light does not blind, it reveals. Your very existence becomes a doorway through which others glimpse the kindness of God. You are a reflection of his patience, proof of his precision, and evidence of his promise. Look at your hands. They once trembled from weariness, but now they carry healing. Look at your eyes. They once searched for signs, but now they carry sight. Look at your heart. It once bled from rejection, but now it beats with divine rhythm. You are no longer a seeker of miracles, you are a steward of them. You will notice how time feels different now. What once felt rushed now feels rhythmic. What once confused you now connects seamlessly. Heaven's timing has merged with your steps. You are walking in sync with eternity's pulse. Every act of kindness becomes prophecy. Every moment of peace becomes a miracle in motion. There was once a man who thought his story had ended after losing everything, but in the stillness of surrender, he began to write again, not with ambition, but with authenticity. The second part of his life carried more fruit than the first, because it was rooted in grace, not striving. That's what happens when destiny is fulfilled. It multiplies quietly. You will find yourself drawn to places that need light, not applause. You will feel compelled to heal what others avoid, to listen where others speak. That's the nature of fulfilled destiny. It no longer craves validation, it craves restoration. The chosen ones don't chase crowns, they create peace. And though the journey continues, the striving ends. You don't need to prove what heaven has already approved. You no longer measure yourself against others. You measure by obedience. That's freedom, the kind only found after surrender. Chosen one. This is the season of convergence. The roads of pain, purpose, and promise all meet here. You will look back and realize that every detour was direction. Every delay was protection. Every silence was strategy. Nothing was wasted. The same God who wrote your beginning is now revealing your brilliance. The light upon you will not fade, it will flow. You are no longer trying to find your place, you are becoming it. You are a living altar, a moving sanctuary, a reminder that heaven and earth still collaborate through willing hearts. From this day forward, walk as one who has seen the end from the beginning. You are the embodiment of answered prayers, the fulfillment of unseen intercessions, the continuation of divine stories written long before you arrived. And when you wake tomorrow, don't rush to chase purpose. Simply breathe and let purpose move through you. The glory that rests upon you will guide every step. You are not carrying a burden, you are carrying a blessing that carries you. The unveiling is complete. The mantle has settled. The journey has fulfilled its promise. You have become the message heaven intended to send. And now, chosen one, the story rests in your hands. What began as revelation has become realization. You are no longer simply a listener, you are a living continuation of everything heaven has whispered through these words. The season of breaking has given birth to brilliance. You are proof that purpose outlives pain. Take a deep breath and feel it, the quiet electricity in your spirit. That's not just emotion, it's activation. The message didn't come to entertain you, it came to awaken you. Something sacred has shifted. Something eternal has settled. You know it because your soul recognizes truth when it touches it. You have been reminded that every silence had meaning. Every battle had blueprint. Every tear was tuition. The anointing on your life is no longer potential, it is present. This is the beginning of your next chapter. One written not with fear, but with fire. And as this chapter closes, let your response rise gently. When you like, when you share, when you subscribe. Don't do it for me, do it as a symbol, an act of agreement. Each gesture becomes a quiet offering, like lighting a candle in a cathedral after hearing a divine secret. And if your heart feels full, leave a comment below, not for attention, but as your testimony. Let your words breathe gratitude, hope, or even silence in written form. Every comment becomes a stone laid on the altar of remembrance, proof that heaven still speaks and that hearts still answer. This is your sacred echo, the way you send light forward. Because somewhere, another chosen one is waiting in their own darkness, scrolling for confirmation, searching for a reason to hold on. Maybe your light will be the one that finds them. So share it like passing fire from torch to torch. Subscribe as a way of saying, I will stay connected to this flame. Let your engagement be your amen soft, sincere, eternal. The message has been delivered. The veil is lifted. The chosen have risen. And you are ready to walk in the light you were always meant to carry.